Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Kristie.
And I'm Josh. We've got some more great Reddit stories for you today, so let's jump into the first one.
Am I overreacting for wanting to call off my wedding because of how my fiancé treated me on vacation?
Ooh, a vacation is just one of those things that you should do with your significant other before you tie the knot, because you learn some things on vacation.
Just a quick prelude, my family situation is complicated, so I really have a terrible reference point for healthy long-term relationships. Parents have been divorced 5 times between both of them. Dad twice, mom 3 times. Anyways, the reason for the post is that me, 31 male, and my fiancé, 30 female, just got back from a vacation to celebrate her graduation from college, and her getting a job in her field. We have been together for 6 years, and she is an immigrant to the U.S., with none of her credits transferring over. She has been in college for 8 years to get her degree. I began planning and budgeting 2 trips back in January, to Tampa and to LA, and once I had rough budgets and itineraries, I showed them off to her and let her pick which trip she would rather go on. I have a pretty good job, but with supporting both of us while in school and our wedding coming up later this year, I was only able to budget for a 5-day, 4-night trip to either location.
5-day, 4-night is pretty good for a vacation.
Right? I feel like that's pretty standard, right?
That's very standard. That's essentially a week.
Once I showed her both options, she immediately picked LA, absolutely not a surprise, and began adding her own ideas for what to do. After that, I booked everything for the trip, and besides a slight hiccup in getting our passport cards, we were ready to go and got there on the first day, bright and early at 9 a.m. The first day went fantastic, and we hit more than what we wanted to do on that day. The issues really started on day 2. I just drove us over to Santa Monica to have breakfast before we explored the pier. We got seated outside on their patio, and the second the waiter left, she turned to me and started to grill me about the length of the vacation. Why only 5 days? You only did it because you are used to white people holidays. Waste of money to come for only 5 days. So stupid.
OP's paying for this, right?
Yes.
That is a strong opinion to have when you're not paying. Also, I still say 5 days seems like a lot. Am I stupid white person here?
I think the problem is in other parts of the world and like in Europe and places, they go on month-long vacations. We don't get that kind of vacation in corporate America.
That's true. We do not.
So I do wonder if Americans' view of vacation is skewed, but I feel like 5 days is a pretty standard good vacation.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's a day of travel. 5 days there and a day of travel, essentially.
Well, he said 5 days, 4 nights, so I think traveling might be included in the first and last day.
Okay, that's fair, but still, I don't know, she's getting a free vacation.
She really only stopped when the waiter came by to take our order. Thankfully, the restaurant was fairly empty, so it wasn't too public, but still, I could tell people walking by could overhear our conversation. When I asked why she was only bringing this up to me now, she just said she was too busy with school to look at the itinerary, even though she had made a ton of changes to the plan.
That is an excellent point. Why wouldn't you bring this up before you're on the vacation?
Like, it's a little late to change things now, even if I wanted to, because we already got a flight home.
Yeah, and I can't imagine being so busy with school that I don't know how long we're going to be in another country.
Well, it's not another country. They live in the U.S. and flew to LA.
Then why did they need their passports?
Well, now to fly, you need either the real ID or your passport. Maybe they don't have real IDs.
Oh, I forgot about the flying aspect, yes.
It really just set the tone for the rest of the vacation. She would bring it up anytime we were stuck in traffic, which, it's LA, this was near constant, waiting in line for the Getty or the Griffith Observatory. When I didn't take pictures to her liking, she would sulk and tell me there isn't enough time for me to take this many bad photos.
She definitely doesn't want to miss anything on this vacation, does she?
I still tried to have a great time, and we did a ton of stuff in the days we had. But still, it was miserable cloud over every hour that passed. But now, coming back and thinking on it, it seems insanely disrespectful and rude to yell at your fiancé that planned, booked, and paid for a trip cross-country to celebrate your graduation because it wasn't as long as you wanted it to be. I've tried to talk to her about it, but her response is just, "How lucky are you that I'm so good, this is what you have to complain about?" Which honestly makes me question committing the rest of my life to be with her.
I am stealing that one for the next time you're mad at me.
I ate your donut? I can't believe this is the only thing you have to be mad about. That's how awesome I am.
How good am I that donut is still the only thing that you have to complain about?
I wouldn't say the only thing, but it is the big one.
It's the primary thing.
There have been many other things too, obviously, that are in line with this. But I'm just making this post because as someone who has seen so many failed relationships in my family, and with no time for a therapist, just trying to check on whether canceling a wedding over this is even remotely in line.
I mean, right off the bat, if you feel like you need to talk to a therapist, make time to talk to a therapist. Don't just say, I don't have time.
That is good advice.
But having said that, I don't honestly know if you're overreacting. Yeah, she was kind of awful on this vacation. I do want to know how she is outside of this. Was this just like a weird quirk that you're going to have to live with, that like she does not accept a 5-day vacation? But now that I'm thinking about what he said, he also said there's other things he didn't mention. So maybe it is smart to take a step back and decide if this is a person you want to marry.
I feel like her line, how lucky are you that I'm so good, this is what you have to complain about? Like, that is not productive conversation. Like, this really bothered him. You should have a serious conversation about it and try to, like, fix it and understand his emotional side of things.
He should have said that to her on vacation when she said that we're not on vacation for long enough.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I like that.
How lucky are you that this is the worst thing you have to complain about? She probably would have thrown the chair at you.
I do feel like complaining about the quality of a free vacation that someone is giving you is really rude.
And I don't think it's that weird to take a short vacation. Why does every vacation have to be long?
And this is just a congratulations, you graduated present trip. I feel like a weekend would be sufficient for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you can swing a month-long vacation, take a month-long vacation. Sounds like money is a bit tight because you're saving for a wedding and you've been paying all of her student loans or something.
Yeah, they're both paying for school, so.
Yeah, so that adds up. Money's probably kind of tight right now.
Top comment, not overreacting, sounds like an unpleasant way to spend the rest of your life.
My main problem with it is that she just does not want to talk about how she was behaving. Like, if you had sat down and talked about it and been like, hey, you could really hurt my feelings, and she acknowledged it, I'd be like, hey, maybe she deserves a second chance here. But yeah, she essentially gaslit you.
Someone replied to that comment, yes, never marry hoping things will get better. The stress of married life is worse. Careers, mortgage, kids, in-laws, health, etc. And I agree with that. Like, this is when you're supposed to be happiest, right before you get married, right? I mean, it is a little stressful because you're planning a wedding, but right before the wedding and right after the wedding are supposed to be like the honeymoon phase where you're like so in love and everything's perfect. If it isn't going well, this is just a sign of what's to come.
That is true. You've got the honeymoon phase when you first start dating, and then you got the honeymoon phase when you're first married. And yeah, you guys should be at a high point right now. Like, a lot of big life events just happened. And I don't think it's ever really overreacting when you're engaged to someone to just take a step back and think to yourself if this is what you really want to do. It might be overreacting to, like, call off the engagement out of some sort of panic attack or anything, but taking a step back and just thinking about your life is always just a smart idea.
Not overreacting. She doesn't need you anymore, so now her true colors are showing. She's not a good person. Someone replied, this was my first thought. She has her degree and a job. She's already looking ahead, and I don't think she has him in the picture. She sounds miserable. I'm guessing OP was her fallback until she got through the finish line.
I don't know, that feels a little harsh based off of this much information. It's possible that she's just very strict about how she expects vacations to go.
Everybody in the comments wants to know, what does she mean a white person holiday? And 5-day vacation sounds like, amazing. I wish I could go on a 5-day vacation.
So OP is white, I assume.
I assume so too, yeah.
It's never great that your fiance is calling out your race.
But some people on Reddit think they have an idea of what she means by white person holiday. I have a feeling it references that in other countries, they sometimes take up to a month off on vacation because, they aren't being held hostage in bad jobs by crap bosses and capitalism and by a lack of access to affordable health care.
I mean, that was our theory on what that meant too, but it feels weird that she didn't say, like, American holiday.
Yeah, because, like, a lot of the European countries that get, like, a whole month off in the summer are also white.
Primarily, right?
Yeah.
So it does seem weird that she brought race into it.
Someone else said, welcome to America. We don't get vacation like everyone else does. She needs to get used to that.
Maybe she has just realized that she has to get used to that because she's finally graduated.
But yeah, Reddit, does not think he's overreacting. She sounds kind of terrible.
Yeah, that's not a great reaction to what is honestly a very nice gift. And I don't think you're overreacting to at least take a step back and assess the situation.
And that's pretty much what Reddit thinks. They're saying, go with your gut on this one.
Am I the asshole for keeping my pants on?
What situation could this possibly be where that would make you the asshole?
This happened a week ago, but we ended up debating it in our group chat again today, so I thought I'd come here for a definitive answer. I, 24 male, went on a hike with my friends, all guys around my age. There were 4 of us. We are not experienced hikers, but we are all athletic, so we figured it would be fine. Anyway, one thing we didn't account for was how muddy it would be, and by the time we got back to the car, the bottom half of all our pants were messes. The friend who drove is very particular about his car, and immediately said he did not want us muddying it up. He took off his pants and put them in a bag in the trunk, and said he was going to drive home in his boxers to not mess up the car. The other 2 guys followed suit.
Okay, that is something.
Just 4 bros in a car.
All no pants.
They looked at me, and I said I wasn't comfortable doing that. They said we're all guys here, but I just said I don't feel comfortable not being dressed. And before you guys say, boxers are just like bathing suits, I was wearing boxer briefs, which to me are a lot tighter. It was also laundry day, so I didn't really want anyone to see the pair I was wearing.
Oh, no. No, when you go out somewhere, you're supposed to wear nice, clean underwear, especially hiking. What if you're more likely to get in an accident when you're hiking, and when the ambulance has to come get you and cut your pants off, they're going to see your Spider-Man tighty-whities. And that's just not cool.
Do you really think through that far when you're picking out your underwear for a hike?
Yes.
What if you want to wear your bad underwear so that if you fall down and rip them somehow, you rip your bad underwear, not your good underwear?
Okay, I can kind of see that, but I also feel like you should not have any pairs of underwear that you are so embarrassed about that you would not want someone else to see them. Like, just throw those underwear away and get some new ones.
I refused, so of course the car got a little muddy. I offered to pay for cleaning, but my friend said it's not about the money, and I could have saved him time and a headache by just not wearing the muddy pants in the car. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole. Okay, some people are less comfortable with nudity or lack of clothing than other people, and I feel like you can't make someone take their clothes off for your convenience. That's just really rude and weird, and I feel like that's crossing a boundary.
And they're not hikers, so it's hard to judge them for not being super prepared for it. If you're so particular about your car not getting muddy, keep a towel in the trunk that someone can sit on.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Often when we go on hikes, we have a spare pair of shoes because we know our hiking boots are going to get muddy. So we take them off before we get in the car and put on our spare pair of tennis shoes.
Yeah, also the tennis shoes are just a little bit easier to drive in. But we also have an emergency blanket in the back that we could spread over the seat.
Yeah, that too. I have lots of emergency stuff in the cars because I'm a Girl Scout and I'm well prepared for any situation.
You weren't a Girl Scout, were you?
I was.
I didn't know that.
I mean, only up to, through elementary school, but...
Still, I don't think I knew that. That's weird.
I had every single badge you could get for the brownies.
Congrats.
I needed the complete set of badges, okay? I'm a collector. I had to collect them all, and only me and one other girl collected them. Everyone else did not complete and get every single badge.
Reddit's verdict is that there's not enough info here.
Okay.
Top comment. My God, this is the first time I've ever seen a situation where you really should have put on clean underwear before you left. Just like your mom always said you should.
See? My mom always told me that too. Are you going to be embarrassed if the paramedics need to cut off your pants and see this underwear on you?
OP replied, it was clean.
But embarrassing enough that you didn't want anyone else to see it.
Enough people called OP out about that in the comments that he had to make a couple edits about his underwear.
Okay.
Edit 1, the underwear was clean. I don't wear dirty underwear, just embarrassing.
Why is it embarrassing?
Edit 2, since it's apparently relevant since it was a laundry day, I was wearing Spider-Man boxer briefs.
I knew it was Spider-Man! I told you, but I said Spider-Man tighty-whities because I just thought those were funnier.
And I really did want people to see. You did call it out. Somebody else replied to the top comment. Okay, fair, but when my mom said it to me, she really just meant underwear I would be comfortable with the ambulance driver seeing. It wasn't necessarily literally clean she was talking about, but presentability. Apparently, that person's mom is as crazy as yours.
Your mom never told you this?
I mean, she instilled the virtues of wearing clean clothing, but no, she never told me in case the ambulance driver sees my underwear.
Wow, your mom has really fallen down on the job. You just did not learn everything you should have as a child. That is an important life lesson.
I just didn't realize that everyone else was going through life thinking about what the ambulance driver is going to think when they have to see my underwear. Somebody else commented, was there no towel or anything you could have sat on? If he had so many bags to put pants in, could you have made a makeshift seat cover?
Yeah, like at least put your boots in a bag. Like put a bag over each boot.
Somebody replied, since OP mentions the bottom half of the pants, I assume he meant from the knee down. So it's the footwell, maybe the back of the front seats depending on how tight things were, of the vehicle that were getting muddy, not the seats. OP would have had to step into the trash bags and hold it around his knees to stop transfer, which I guess would have worked. But fuck, I like a clean car too, but mud in the footwell and on the mats is kind of a given, especially when you take people hiking. Not the asshole to OP, keep rocking your Spider-Man underoos, bud.
I just feel like if this friend is so particular about his car, he should have been prepared for a situation like this and had stuff that you guys could use to keep the car clean. Not just take off your pants. Everybody get naked and get in the car.
That's just normal bro hangout activities.
I feel like there's a very small window in my life where I would have been comfortable, like, taking off my clothes and getting in the car with my friends. And it was college. Like, in high school, I was too sheltered. And no, I'm not taking my clothes off. That's wrong. Nobody should see my private parts or anything close to them. But college, we joined the fencing team and we were all just changing clothes in the back room together. And like, we were all much more comfortable taking pants and shirts off around each other. But then I got older and I'm like, I don't think I need everyone to see my whole body. Also, I'm getting chubbier, so I don't want people to see my whole body. What?
Nothing. I feel like it's also a little different for guys because we have boxers, which cover a lot more area.
They do.
Even boxer briefs. I disagree with OP. I feel like boxer briefs are essentially the same thing as boxers for this instance.
I don't know. There are some that are tighter than others, and I feel like I would be less comfortable with the tighter ones. Like, you want a little loose and baggy to hide all your stuff.
It doesn't bother me, I guess, because also the looser ones have a higher chance of slippage happening.
Ooh, that is true.
Maybe we're getting too in-depth on underwear strategy.
Underwear analysis, Josh. Come on.
What pattern is on the Spider-Man underwear, you think? Is it like just the Spider-Man web, or is it little Spider-Man all over? Is it just like a weird, creepy Spider-Man's face right over his crotch?
Is it like a whole scene of a Spider-Man, like, comic book square? What is going on with this Spider-Man underwear?
I feel like there's probably a lot of Spider-Man underwear out there, and I want to know the exact make and model. Somebody else commented, I've been putting off going through my underwear drawer and getting rid of any that are worn and look a little tired. This has motivated me to do it sooner rather than later.
I was thinking about you because for a while there, you had some really ratty looking underwear with holes in it. And you just kept wearing them. And I was like, Josh, throw these away. There's a giant hole in this.
Thanks for calling me out on that one, babe.
You're welcome.
Throw me under that bus for content.
You were the one who wanted to start the show and put our lives out there.
OP replied, they are literally on the newer side. I just didn't want to get ragged on.
Yeah, they would tease you about your Spider-Man underoos.
They absolutely would, but I don't know. If you just laugh along with it, I don't think it's going to last very long. It is sometimes hard to laugh along with the teasing, though. But despite people in the comments teasing OP about his underwear, just like he feared would happen, most people are saying you're not the asshole for not wanting to sit in a car in your underwear. And they're also saying they don't think the guy who didn't want his car to get muddy is the asshole either. They're mostly leaning towards not the asshole here, and they're teasing OP about his underwear.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, it really helps us out, and it lets us know we should keep making fun content like this for you.
Also, if you're really feeling ambitious, hit that hype button so we can reach new audiences.
Honestly, we're not 100% sure how it works, but we like it when the hype number gets bigger.
Am I overreacting for turning around mid-drive after finding out my parents were also watching a dog while keeping my rabbit?
I mean, I guess it depends on how they're storing the animals.
My partner and I are leaving for London this week, and we plan for my parents to take care of our rabbit while we're away. They live 2 hours away from us, and we've been organizing this for months. From the very beginning, I made one thing very clear. I did not want my aunt's dog staying at my parents' house at the same time as my rabbit. The dog is very energetic and excitable, and my rabbit is extremely anxious and has heart issues. Even stress alone can be dangerous for her. I reminded both my parents and my aunt about this multiple times, including a few weeks ago. Today was the day and we were leaving. We packed all of my rabbit's belongings into the car, put her in the carrier, which already stresses her out a lot, and started the 2-hour drive. Halfway there, my mom texted me, "Just so you know, the aunt's dog is staying here too."
Why?
I immediately burst into tears from stress and exhaustion. After talking with my partner, we decided to turn around and find another solution for our rabbit.
It kind of sounds like OP is as prone to stress as the rabbit is.
And it's not good for her. Why is mom putting her through this? My mom said the dog would only stay until tomorrow and that they had put up barriers so the dog couldn't go upstairs near my rabbit. She tried offering different compromises, but I still refused and turned back. Now my parents are really sad that they don't get to keep the rabbit, and I feel guilty for ruining the plan and making the trip more complicated. But at the same time, I feel like my one boundary was ignored after months of planning. Am I overreacting?
Why did the parents need to keep the dog for a night?
I don't know, but apparently they do it regularly enough that she was like, I know they're going to try and keep Aunt's dog while my rabbit is there. I need to make sure I tell them many times that that is not okay.
Obviously, they shouldn't have promised not to keep the dog in the house and then said, actually, we're going to keep the dog in the house. That's asshole behavior right there. But they made a plan to keep the dog downstairs and your rabbit upstairs. I would assume they could also just close the door to the room the rabbit is in. I don't know if the rabbit is so easily stressed out that just the fact that the dog is downstairs barking and running around that it would stress the rabbit out.
It might. And like he can smell the dog and that's scary. I don't know. I kind of agree with her on this one. But also, I mean, I do feel like if you are asking a favor of someone, you can't really complain if things don't go exactly the way you want. But this was one thing she was very clear on was very important to her.
I mean, yeah, those are both very good points. I'm just thinking back to, growing up, we had a rabbit and we also had 2 dogs. And the rabbit did not care at all about the dogs.
Okay, yeah, but this rabbit does.
Yeah.
This rabbit is scared of dogs. And it has a heart condition. So those things combined are not good. No dogs allowed.
Does this specific rabbit have a heart condition? Or were they just talking about all rabbits having like a fear-induced heart condition?
I mean, all rabbits are very easily stressed out. And you got to be careful with that. But I think it is her particular rabbit has extra heart issues.
Okay, that makes sense. Because our rabbit used to chase the cats.
Yeah, but that's like a rabbit that has grown up with cats and dogs and stuff. Would you trust our dog Anna with a rabbit?
Probably. She's pretty good with living animals. If it was a stuffed animal rabbit, she would absolutely destroy it. I don't think I've ever seen her actually go after a living animal like that, though.
Well, she chases squirrels all the time.
Oh, she chases them, but...
And one time, she brought you a baby rat in her mouth. It was like, look what I got.
And that baby rat was perfectly healthy.
It was fine, yes, but I feel like a rabbit, and if the rabbit ran, she would chase that rabbit and pounce on it.
She might, but I don't think she would really do that much damage, to be honest with you. She's very much the type of dog that, loves to chase them, does not know what to do when she catches them. But obviously, we don't know the personality of Aunt's dog. I don't know. I guess you're not overreacting for not wanting to keep your rabbit in conditions that you're not comfortable with. Since I don't know anything about your aunt's dog other than that it's excitable, and I don't know your rabbit's condition, yeah, don't take risks with your pet.
Also, all they did was put up a barrier. I don't know if I trust those. I've seen enough videos of dogs jumping them or getting through the bars or just knocking them down completely that I do not trust those 100% to keep my rabbit safe.
That's another one that's subjective to the dog, though. And they do, it sounds like, watch Aunt's dog every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. If I watched the dog every now and then, I feel like I would have some confidence on whether or not a baby gate would actually stop the dog from getting over it. And then I would also close the bedroom door wherever the rabbit is.
But I also feel like if someone has specifically told you, I am not comfortable with you having the dog and the rabbit in the house at the same time, you can't say, okay, that sounds good. And then be like, just kidding, the dog is here and you're on your way and you've already driven an hour towards here. You're halfway here. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, at least they told OP on the phone while they were driving over instead of telling them when they arrived at the house and the dog was already there.
Could have told him before they got the rabbit all packed up and put in the car, though.
Yeah, they absolutely could have done that.
Top comment, not overreacting, and if my parents pulled a stunt like that, knowing I was counting on them, it would be a long while before I saw them or even spoke to them again. This was a deliberate and rotten thing for them and your aunt to do.
That feels a little harsh to me.
And they're ruining your trip and putting your rabbit's safety at risk.
I mean, it does sound like they are ruining your trip. I just don't know if I would call it deliberate so much as maybe they're pushovers for pet sitting.
Yeah, Aunt asked them and they couldn't say no.
Right.
But you already made an obligation to your daughter, and I feel like your daughter is more important. Someone replied, parents love calling boundaries overreacting when the boundary inconveniences them. You had one condition and they ignored it after months of reminders. That's disrespectful AF. Honestly, I'd be furious too. The barriers aren't even the point anymore. It's the fact that they decided your rabbit's safety was negotiable without asking you first.
Yeah, I feel like that's the main point. They did just kind of ignore your one condition. So I can't say you're overreacting when you had one rule and they broke the one rule. That means they broke all the rules.
Another comment, you're underreacting. Seriously, even a small dog can kill a domestic rabbit. I'd never let her bunny sit again. She waited until the last minute to notify you of the dog's presence. She was trying to get around your boundary. Don't give her another chance to hurt your bun. Someone replied, my 17-pound dog gulped a baby bunny he found in the backyard down in one swallow. And he plucked a flying bird out of the air. And that reminds me of your sister's dog. This fat dog with tiny stubby legs, but she could get a bird out of the air like nothing.
Why are you throwing my sister's dog under the bus now?
She was really good at catching birds.
She was like a shark. She'd just jump out up in the air and grab one. They didn't have many birds in their backyard.
Someone else says they could have brought it up literally any other time that they were keeping the dog too, allowing you more time to find alternative arrangements. But they waited until you were on your way. That's manipulative.
Yeah, it's just not a great thing to surprise someone with a change of plans, especially when you discussed that you don't want this thing to happen.
So Reddit pretty much thinks not overreacting. It was not cool of mom to just spring this on you.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It was not cool of parents to just spring this on you. I don't think I'm carrying quite as big of a pitchfork as everyone in the Reddit's comments section is, but it's still not cool. And I don't think you're overreacting. Am I the asshole for not considering office drama interesting?
I just don't understand why anyone's mad at you for not finding office gossip interesting.
My wife used to be a cool and relaxed person. You know, she can handle things. But in her new job, which she's been in for about 18 months or so, there's a lot of drama at an almost all-female workplace. I know how this sometimes develops, and it's nasty, unenjoyable, and a good reason to move along, really. My profession is usually associated with an absolute majority of female workers, too. And many workplaces benefit from a good gender balance to avoid being trapped in unproductive behavior. The thing is, she now comes home and talks about person A doing X to person B, while C is doing Y to A, and D is going as low as doing Z to B. I felt like a math question.
I bet that's what he thinks too. He doesn't know who any of these people are, and keeping all of them straight is like a math puzzle.
But how fast is the train going? I find this so terrifyingly boring. I often have to stop her and tell her that I have zero mental bandwidth for that. Can't even remember the names, and whatever I can reply will usually just confirm whatever my wife has already figured out. Sorry, but everyday life is pretty cramped with adulting things, parenting tasks, and I'd love to squeeze in enjoyable bits there too. Office banter about people I don't know being asshats towards each other is just not something I want to hear. Kind of understandingly, my wife would rather share her experience with me. But then again, I ask her if she doesn't have something else less boring to share with me instead. She's disappointed in me now. Am I the asshole for asking her to leave the office drama at the office?
Yes, she doesn't care if you are following the story of what A is doing to B and C is doing to Z and X and Y said this about F. She doesn't care if you're following it. She just wants to vent. You don't actually have to listen. You just have to kind of half pay attention and occasionally interject, "That sucks, babe."
I feel like maybe you should put in a little more effort than that.
I mean, it would be nice if he did. And like, it's nice to like let your spouse vent and listen to them and like actually have a conversation with them about what's bothering them at work. But he's just like, babe, I don't care. Shut up. And that is not okay. At least be like, dude, that sucks, and kind of half pay attention.
At the minimum, but is it really that hard to just pay attention and learn some office gossip? Because it seems important to your wife?
I mean, ideally, yes, that is what he should be doing. But I don't think we're going to get him to do that. He just seems so averse to doing anything like this. I feel like we got to work him up in baby steps, okay?
You know what? That is a good approach, because she absolutely is just seeking out that, like, that sucks, babe. That's crazy, babe. Like, that's the level of response she's looking for. She's not looking for you to, like, solve all the office's problems.
Oh, don't try and do that.
No, that is a trap that a lot of guys fall into.
No, she just wants to vent. Let her vent about how stupid and crazy everyone at work is.
So, yeah, you're right. Baby step him up. Just, that sucks, babe. That's crazy, babe.
She did what? That's insane.
And then when you master that skill, OP, actually pay attention to your wife. Don't just be like, this topic bores me. I'm done with this.
Yeah, that is super rude to say to anyone, especially someone you're married to. Your life is boring. Please stop talking about it.
Top comment. You're the asshole for both the unnecessary commentary on workplace gender dynamics and complaining about your wife. Dealing with these people sounds like a big part of her workday. People like to talk and vent about work with their spouse when they get home. Listening to my partner talk about coworkers isn't my favorite thing to do, but I do it and don't complain because I care about my partner and what's on their mind.
And that is what a good spouse does.
Kristie, you were just so quick to the draw with that just half listen and throw out some that sucks, babes. It made me really paranoid.
Oh, no, you don't do that. I'm just thinking, like, we gotta work him up in baby steps because he is abysmally bad at this.
Because I absolutely, like every spouse in existence, come home and vent to you sometimes.
Yeah. I come home and tell you all about how my experiments are going, and you don't know any of the science behind them, and you don't really care about it, but you listen to me ramble about my Western blots and ELISA tests.
Yeah, and I guess I don't have coworkers anymore now that this is my full-time job. I mean, I have one, and I shouldn't vent to you about her.
Oh, please don't.
But I still come home sometimes and be like, the cashier at the grocery store was crazy today. And you smile and nod and say, that's crazy, babe. Another comment. You're the asshole. Listening to your wife and validating what matters in her world is part of being a good partner. You don't get to decide what to shut out. And you're the asshole for having sexist ideas. The drama is not because most of the people who work there are women. Men are just as dramatic as women. They're just socialized to show it in different ways. I work with both men and women, and trust me when I say men can be equally as petty, gossipy, and emotional when it comes to work conflict and drama. A lot of the commenters do not like that OP added in that line about her office being primarily female and could benefit from a healthier gender ratio.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over that, but yeah, that also is not cool. He's just like, ugh, women and their gossip and women problems and ugh.
Yeah, that's not going to get anyone on your side. You're the asshole. This is your wife's life. She spends 40 hours a week with these people. What they do and how they act affect her career and her emotional state. This isn't boring to her. This is a massive, massive piece of her life, and she's trying to share with her partner. You telling her that her stories are boring, that you don't care, and she needs to come up with something more interesting to talk about is just beyond rude. This is such a dickish asshole thing to say. You are a massive asshole. Learn who these people are. Get their names right. Figure out who does what. Listen and understand what she's talking about. Support her when she needs support. This isn't rocket science. This is basic relationship stuff. Do you think she was always fascinated by whatever bullshit you talk about all the time? Get a clue, man. Massive YTA. And somebody else has a shorter version of that comment. You're the asshole. An important part of marriage is pretending to be interested in really boring stories.
Are my stories really boring?
I don't know. From your response to this, I'm worried that mine are. I guess we're just paranoid people. That's the takeaway from this story. You and I do not have self-confidence.
Am I the asshole for refusing to split assistant coaching duties after my partner volunteered?
Kind of sounds like your partner volunteered both of you.
My partner, 42 male, and I, 38 female, signed our 9-year-old son up for soccer. Originally, we agreed we would take turns bringing him to practices and we would both attend games. At Parents' Night, the coach asked if anyone wanted to volunteer as assistant coach and said to let them know by the first practice. At home, my partner suggested I do it because I played soccer in grade school. I told him I had zero interest in coaching.
Sorry, soccer in grade school? So like 30 years ago?
Yup.
I played soccer in grade school, and I mostly just stood on the field confused.
You do not feel confident in your ability to coach soccer from that experience?
No, all I remember from grade school soccer is that the coach would be like, Josh, go sub in for Trevor. And I would wander out onto the field and be like, I don't know who Trevor is. And then I would spend my entire time on the field trying to figure out who Trevor is. And I don't know. I have no idea who that person is.
I told him I had zero interest in coaching. He then said maybe he would do it instead. I specifically told him that if he became assistant coach, that would mean he'd have to attend every practice and every game. He said that was fine. At the first practice, he volunteered and officially became the assistant coach. Then the second practice rolls around and he's not getting ready to leave. I asked why, and he told me it was my turn to take our son to practice. I reminded him that he had agreed to be assistant coach, which means that he needs to be at every practice. He argued that since we originally agreed to split practices, that should also mean splitting assistant coaching responsibilities.
So he did volunteer both of you.
Or at the very least volunteered himself and expected you to pick up half of it. So yeah, pretty much volunteered both of you, even though you said no. I told him absolutely not. I warned him ahead of time what volunteering meant, and I never agreed to share coaching duties. Now he's upset and says I'm not sharing the responsibility and that I should come to practices with him so things are even. I feel like the assistant coach responsibilities belong to the person who volunteered for them, and my responsibility is still what we originally agreed on, showing up to games and helping with transportation when applicable. Am I the asshole?
I mean, you're not the asshole. Your husband volunteered for this position. It is now his responsibility to fill in that position. If anything, him volunteering to be the assistant coach means that you don't have to go to every other practice because he's going to be at every practice, so he can just take the kid with him. You still have to go to games.
But yeah, what's the point of you driving to practice when the husband is already going to be driving to practice?
Yeah, you could stay home and do the dishes. Like, keep the house working.
Top comment. Call the head coach and let him know what's going on and that he should look for a new assistant coach, because your partner will almost certainly lie to him and tell him you agreed to take turns. OP replied, he only complains at home. There, he pretends he's having the best time. He doesn't even know how soccer works, so I'm sure that it's frustrating enough for the coach.
Let's be honest, none of the other parents volunteered. I'm sure the coach is just happy to have another adult there to tell the kids to line up when he needs them to line up.
Yeah, it's just nice to have a backup for wrangling these little goblins you're in charge of.
Yeah, the coach is just helpful. There's another adult there to tap the kid that's just zoning out on the shoulder and be like, that one's Trevor, go sub out for him. And another awesome thing that your husband gets to do now that he's assistant coach, he can watch YouTube videos to learn soccer. Or at least how to coach soccer. You don't have to know every rule of soccer to be able to guide 9-year-olds through a drill. Just make them run burpees.
I don't think you run burpees. I think you do burpees.
That's the kind of smart-ass talking back that's going to make you run extra burpees, Kristie.
See, you already got the coaching attitude down great.
Yeah, 9-year-olds are going to love me.
NTA, you agreed to split the transportation duties. He doesn't get to volunteer you to do something he agreed to do himself. There was no lack of communication on your part. You told him you weren't interested in coaching. He just did it once and found out it entails more than he thought, so he tried to shove it off on you. OP replied, technically, he didn't even do it once because he waited until the end of practice to say anything to see if anyone else would volunteer. When no one else did, he decided he should. The crazy part is he has never played soccer, so I'm unsure why he chose to volunteer.
Okay, that little anecdote makes me think that husband did the right thing and been like, I sure hope somebody with more experience volunteers. Oh, it's the end of practice. No one else is volunteering. I guess I won't abandon this poor coach to solo coaching.
But then you can't just volunteer your wife when she specifically said she didn't want to do it.
Oh, no, that part he's still an asshole for. I just think that it was the correct move to wait until the end of practice that time to volunteer.
Okay, yeah, I do agree with that. NTA, I'd be petty enough to say, I'll take him to practice and you can drive yourself to the assistant coaching job you signed up for. He knew what he was doing when he signed up. He knew you didn't want to and what his responsibilities would be. I'd take your son and let the league deal with your husband's lack of attendance.
I don't know. Do you think OP just needs to, encourage her husband to look up some drills and spend an afternoon learning how to coach soccer? Is he just paranoid that he's in over his head and he's looking for an out or some support?
I don't know. I feel like just not getting ready to go to soccer practice and being like, it's your turn to coach. That's not cool. And it sounds more like he's just trying to push it off on her than he lacks confidence in himself.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about the part where he just was not getting ready for soccer practice the next day. I think he volunteered to lay in this bed, so now he has to lay in it. And I really just feel like you are exempt from having to go to soccer practice from now on.
Reddit agrees with you. They think NTA, and they really just think that the husband wanted to be the hero when nobody else volunteered to be the coach, but he doesn't actually want to do any of the responsibilities.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected Reddit's opinion to be. I don't support how many comments you read where their solution was go tattle to the coach. You are an adult. You don't get to go tattle to the coach. Figure it out in the privacy of your own home, which it sounds like OP and husband are doing.
But I also feel like maybe you should give coach a heads up that he is not 100% in on this and he doesn't know anything about soccer.
I think coach knows that he doesn't know anything about soccer. I think the solution here is to yell at your husband and tell him to go and learn soccer. Or at least ask the coach what drills he can learn. Husband should just confess, hey, I saw no one else was volunteering, so I didn't want to leave you hanging. But I'm pretty much an amateur here. So if you could just tell me what to do, I will help as best I can. You could just be honest with the coach.
I don't know. Do you think husband will be honest with the coach? And then it's going to reflect badly on the wife if the coach is thinking that the wife has experience and is going to come help him because that's what the husband said.
Did the husband say that to coach?
We don't know, but the husband seemed to assume that was how it was going to work. So maybe that's how the coach thinks it's going to work too. I don't know. We don't get, a description of what happens between husband and coach.
How crazy would it be if husband went up to coach and was like, yeah, my wife is just a soccer expert. She played Pee-wee soccer 30 years ago.
The goal of Pee-wee soccer is to get the kids to focus on the soccer ball and not, oh, a cool bug over there. Look at that butterfly. I'm going to go chase it.
It's about as entry level to sports as you can get. Am I the asshole for closing a joint bank account the day before my ex leaves for vacation?
Ooh. Okay, he's your ex, so not the asshole. But I mean, you should, depending on how bad the breakup was, you might want to let him at least know.
Here's the much needed context. My husband and I separated over 5 years ago. It has been messy and emotionally, financially, and physically draining process. While we were together, we had a joint account where all our expenses were taken out of. After separation, I had requested that my name be removed from the joint account. He did not want the account closed as that was where he was continuing to do the majority of his banking from. This included debits for his vehicle payment, receiving payroll, etc. Over the last several years, he has refused to attend the bank together to take my name off the account. Requests have been made directly and through our attorneys. I even asked as recently as 2 weeks ago, as we were both in the city, to have this finally done and my name removed. We both live rurally. He continued to deny this request. Yesterday, I received a text message and phone call from the bank where the joint account is held, stating that the account is in overdraft totaling $949.99, and the balance needs to be paid instantly.
Wow, that is a big overdraft. How much is the fine on that?
I don't know. It depends on your bank. Some of them have if you can get it paid within 24 hours, we'll call it a oops. But that's about the cost of vacation stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
I immediately texted and called my ex-husband to have this rectified, as this was going to affect my credit score. Once again, he refused to attend the bank to have this completed as he was too busy.
He's got to get ready for vacation. He's too busy and does not have time to deal with this bullshit that he made himself.
Luckily, I was in the city and went to the branch to see what my options are to not let it affect my credit. My options were either to do nothing or to pay the overdraft and close the account. I paid the overdraft and moved forward to closing the account. These were funds that I had worked hard saving and was going to go towards extracurricular activities for our children.
I mean, I get why she did it. It's good to like just finally get this over and done with. But like, I feel like she's never going to see that 900 and however much dollars again.
Now, this is where I might be the asshole. My ex told me that he was leaving on a 3-week vacation to Italy starting March 31st. This all happened March 30th. I chose the second option to pay the overdraft and close the account. With all fees, the total was close to $970. Now, all his debits, vehicle payments, bill payments, etc., are expected to come out of this account while he is away. This means that this gives him 1 day to open a new bank account and change all payments coming out of the previous joint account. So, am I the asshole for closing the joint account that he has had 5 years to remove my name off of the day before he leaves for vacation?
I mean, the timing of it is not optimal, but that's his own fault. He's had 5 years to do this and just kept being like, no.
Yeah, and the timing of it sounds like it wasn't even out of spite. It was the fact that the account was overdrafted, and he's like, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, and like, what was his plan when they continued to take money out of this account while he was on vacation? There's no money in there.
My assumption is that he would get a paycheck put
Auto
in.
pay, yeah.
And then he would just eat the fee of the overdraft and not care how it affected his credit score.
But it's not affecting just his credit score. It's affecting his ex-wife's credit score. So yeah, get your name off of that. I mean, it sucks that you had to pay almost $1,000 to get your name off of this bank account before it ruined your credit score.
Yeah, and OP needs to get a lawyer that is better at writing letters.
Yeah, lawyers should have been on top of this earlier.
5 years. 5 years is plenty of time for the lawyer to use some stronger wording in that letter.
But also, if she could just go in and shut down this account by herself, why didn't she do that earlier?
Well, the way I'm interpreting it is that she could go in and shut it down herself, but she can't go in and get her name off of it because she needs him to sign some stuff too.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And he wanted to keep it with just his name on it, but wasn't willing to go through the work of getting her name off. Okay.
Especially because the account's in overdraft, so the bank is like, I want this out of here.
Yeah. I'm going not the asshole on this one. But did she at least tell him that she closed the account before he left? I feel like doing it is not an asshole move. Not telling him you did it is maybe an asshole move, but like a justified asshole move maybe, but it is definitely an asshole territory.
I'm not finding any comments from OP that specifically say that she told him she closed it, but the fact that she said he has a day to figure all this out makes me think that she did tell him.
Okay, that at least is nice of her. I don't know if she had to do it, but it is very nice that she did, and I do think that is the right thing to do. Even if the petty person in me wants to let him go on vacation and then find out that all his debit cards don't work.
Yeah, and that he's going to lose his house and his car while he's in Italy, or at least have to pay some late fees. That might push her beyond justified asshole territory.
But man, it would be satisfying.
Oh, it'd be so satisfying. Top comment, not the asshole. He was already overdrafting and wasn't going to take care of it. His automatic payment might have started bouncing anyway. His irresponsibility is not your problem.
I agree with that.
Somebody replied, who books a 3-week European vacation when their primary checking account is almost $1,000 in the negative? He was 100% planning to let those bills tank your credit score while he was sipping espresso in Rome.
Yeah, but was he just going to be in Italy and like unable to use his debit card? Like, what was his end game here? I don't understand. I mean, I guess maybe he has auto pay for his paycheck going into the account and that would like bring the balance back up. But I don't know. It does seem sketchy.
Not the asshole. Your ex had the same opportunity you did to go to the bank and resolve the situation on his own. But I don't see how an overdrawn checking account would negatively impact your credit. OP replied, because apparently it's been in overdraft for so long it was going to go to collections.
Oh, this isn't a recent thing. Okay, not the asshole. Well, you can't just let it be an overdraft for forever. Like, it's like he's doing this on purpose just to mess with you.
It does poke a hole in our theory that he was relying on his paycheck getting deposited.
Yeah, it really does. And like, apparently he knew about it for a very long time.
Someone else commented, you should have waited until his paycheck dropped so that the overdraft was paid. Then close the account. Any positive balance after you close the account, you could Venmo him or mail him a certified check. It is a very simple thing to open a new account and set up autopay. It's a minor inconvenience, but you paying the overdraft? Yikes. I hope you get that money back. OP replied, The caveat to all this is that he is self-employed. He controls when the money goes in and out, and he doesn't have a set pay date. So who knows when it would have hit.
Ooh, yeah.
So that paycheck theory is out the window.
It is out the window, yep.
All right, and then she does have a small update.
Oh, okay.
For closing the account, the bank gave me 2 years' worth of statements. Safe to say, he has been hiding funds and only been using this account to keep in the negatives to ruin my credit.
Okay, he's a big asshole.
However, upon the review of the statement, it includes what he received from his tax refund. 2 years ago, he received over $20,000 from a tax refund. This was more than likely due to the fact that our son was diagnosed with ADHD and more recently autism, and he received the disability tax credit and it was backdated. Canadian here. This means that I am entitled to 50% of the resulting credit amount.
Ooh, get your lawyers on that.
So that'll make up for that $1,000 she had to shell out.
But I mean, technically, she still paid $1,000 more than she should have had to because she was owed this money that's coming to her.
Yeah, and the fact that he seems to have just been keeping this account open to mess with her is... I'm glad this is your ex, OP.
Yeah, and then hiding all this money that should have been half yours. That's another huge red flag.
And it should be obvious, but I don't think there's anyone in the comments who is on X's side here.
Especially after that update.
Yeah, that update was pretty damning, wasn't it? And it's good that OP is finally off this account.
Am I overreacting for breaking up with my girlfriend over a toilet plunger prank?
Kristie, we almost made it a whole episode without you bringing up poop.
I think they're funny.
Then no, you're not the asshole. Pranks generally aren't funny, especially when they involve a plunger.
Okay, this just happened 2 hours ago and I'm still fuming. Apparently on TikTok, the toilet plunger prank has been trending. It's where you ask your partner for help with a clogged toilet, and instead you actually put Nutella, water, and fart spray on a plunger and fling it on your partner.
God, I'm glad I'm not on this part of TikTok. My TikTok is just Am I the Asshole stories, opening Pokemon cards, and the news lately. And I am fine with that.
Mine's all funny cat videos.
Oh yeah, I get like ducks falling over and stuff too, obviously. That's just standard TikTok. Why did I go to ducks falling over?
I don't know. My girlfriend decided to do that prank on me, and normally I can take a joke. After she flung the toilet plunger contents on me, including in my mouth, I obviously died and went to hell. But she
Was this at least a new plunger?
Just let me finish the story. But she showed me the video she was making, and I was like, okay, it's just a prank, fine, whatever. But then I asked her if she bought a new toilet plunger to do this prank, or if she at least washed it. But no, she took the regular fucking toilet plunger we had to do this prank. Y'all, I'm so fucking mad right now.
OP is right. They did die and go to hell. That is the only plausible reasoning behind her not at least washing the plunger. It's in your mouth, you poor bastard.
She told me she's so sorry and everything. She forgot to buy a new toilet plunger for the prank.
What do you mean?
WTF, that means I actually got effing feces in my effing mouth.
OP, I'm so sorry.
I'm so unbelievably angry. I told her I'm done with her, and now she is pissed at me. Am I overreacting? We live together, so it's not going to be easy to just break up. Plus, telling all our friends and family we broke up because of a toilet plunger prank feels so childish, but I feel so disrespected. Am I overreacting?
Okay, OP, I really want to know if she was willing to kiss you after the prank. Did she give you an apology kiss for being a good sport?
Before you brushed your teeth or anything.
Right. That is vital to the story, in my opinion.
I just want to say, you're complaining that I picked a poo story, and you were dying laughing over there. You think it's funny, too.
Oh, it's funny. It's just that the TikTok algorithm just slaps these down into, like, the 100 view territory. TikTok is just so picky lately. And you're like, what if I push the boundary further?
But I love the stories. They're good.
What if we just don't have enough strikes on our account right now? What if we could hit that 5 out of 5 and get demonetized. That'd be great.
I tell you, I'm trying.
I think we're at 0 right now at this moment. So I guess we have some leeway for you to be a little crazy.
Okay, but back to the story. Like, even if she had bought a new plunger, Nutella and water, yeah, I'm okay that getting like in my mouth. Fart spray, I don't even want fart spray anywhere near me, and definitely not in my mouth.
I mean, I don't want Nutella in my mouth, honestly. That stuff is nasty.
Well, yeah, I don't really like it either, but it's acceptable, more acceptable than feces.
That is true. But yeah, the fact that the plunger wasn't even washed, how do you forget that part?
Like, I know if it is sanitized, technically it should be fine. But I don't know if I could. That has been in the toilet. I do not know. Even if you washed it, I would not be okay with that.
Oh, technically, it is fine. Morally, it is unforgivable.
And even if you buy a new one, I hope you washed it, because you don't know where it's been in that store.
Oh my God, you're right. What if it got returned?
I didn't even think of that.
I will never call you the asshole for wanting to break up with someone after they pull a prank on you. Especially one like this. I hate it.
Top comment, I hate pranks. And that comment has over 8,000 upvotes. So a lot of people hate pranks.
I think we're all just tired of them, honestly. There's nothing worse than a TikToker approaching you and trying to, like, turn you into content.
Another comment, your girlfriend needs to grow the hell up. Enough with the TikTok challenges, not overreacting. Someone replied, yo, she got shit in his mouth. And then someone else was like, could have given him pink eye or something.
It's just like, I don't like a prank. And I don't like this prank especially.
Someone agrees with that. Not overreacting, so disrespectful, disgusting, and not funny.
There's ways to make a prank fun. And usually the TikTok trend is not a fun type of prank. This one is it's a gross out prank, which I never like. There's the make somebody literally scared for their safety pranks, and those are never fun.
Yeah, that's a good way to get punched.
At the minimum, and honestly, getting some of this stuff into somebody's mouth is also a good way to get punched.
One more comment. Not overreacting. She put shit in my mouth, so I don't want to be with someone that put shit in my mouth. Anybody complaining should let me fling a used plunger in their open mouth. I
absolutely love that summary of the post. OP could have written such a shorter post.
Yeah, that's a great too long didn't read.
Am I the asshole for not letting my friend use the photographer she refused to hire with me?
She not paying, she don't get to use them.
I, 28 female, just graduated with my PhD in the US. I'm an international student, and my family couldn't afford to fly in, so I was alone.
Oh, that's sad.
Months ago, I asked my best friend and roommate, Elena, also graduating, to split a photographer. She said it was a waste of money. I even asked if her family could take a few pics of me on their phone, and she said no, because they'd be too busy focusing on her.
What? That is not a good friend. They're too busy focusing on her to take 5 minutes to take some pictures of your friend.
Yeah, you think their last names are even close alphabetically? Because there's a lot of time where you're just watching that person sit in a seat and look bored.
I wasn't even thinking like at the ceremony. I think usually like after the ceremony, you go around campus and take pictures in your robe and hat and diploma.
Oh, I was picturing walking across the stage photos, but you're right. It might just be have her tag along with the family when they're doing that.
Yeah, we gotta go get our picture taken with Sparty and stuff,
Yeah, you're right. Those are traditional activities.
But if my friend asked this of me, I would be like, do not worry. I will take good pictures of you after the ceremony.
Yeah, it's not that weird to have one of your friends or your roommate like join in the group, especially because their family couldn't make it out. That's just good friend behavior to be like, yeah, get in here. Let's take some photos together.
Yeah, it sounds to me like Elena is not a good friend.
At graduation, a rep from my country's consulate came to congratulate me and asked if I needed anything. I asked for a couple photos on my phone for my parents. He ended up calling their official media photographer, who came and took photos and videos of me.
Oh, that's nice. So she did have someone to get nice photos of her.
Elena saw this and ran over, asking if he could also film her walking on stage and do a full photo shoot of her with her parents, friends, and advisor.
No! Like, I'm not even paying for this person. I'm getting him for free because this very nice consulate person from my home country was like, oh, you can use my photographer. No, I'm not making him take pictures of some other random person that's not even from this country, that the consulate that hired him.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like OP was just lucky that the photographer was at the event because the consulate just approached her at graduation.
Also, I'm not doing any favors for you when you wouldn't even take a few photos of me on your phone.
I told her she could ask him, but I wasn't comfortable asking because I didn't hire him. He's an employee of the consulate, and he was there for official reasons. She called me selfish, stormed off, and later texted me uninviting me from the graduation party we'd planned for weeks, saying I ruined her day and she is not comfortable seeing me.
Wow. Someone has main character syndrome.
Are they the asshole?
No. Elena's the asshole. You can't just be like, I want a free photographer that I didn't pay for.
Yeah, Elena said that a photographer was a waste of money until a free one turned up. And then she wanted a full photo shoot.
Well, it's not a waste of money because it's free. There's no money involved.
Yeah, but like I think you mentioned, it is wild to walk up to an employee of a consulate when you're not from that country and ask them to take photos of you. They have their own job.
Yeah, they're there to do a job and you are not part of it. They're already being very nice by taking photos of OP.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool that OP found somebody to take the photos of her. Honestly, if you just walked up to somebody that was near the stage and be like, hey, can you take some photos of me across the stage? I would kind of expect them to do that. If they're not like doing something actively, like reading the names, like there's got to be someone around there that can help you with the photos. Or if you're taking photos after graduation at some of the landmarks, I would fully be comfortable walking up to like a group of strangers and being like, hey, can you snap a quick photo of me? My family couldn't make it to the country.
Yeah, and I would totally be comfortable taking pictures for other people, like at these landmarks. Like, oh, you don't have anyone to take your picture? Give me your phone. I'll take some pictures for you. And I don't like people. I don't like talking to people, but I would totally do that.
Yeah, so the fact that your roommate wouldn't do that for you, OP, that is not a good roommate or friend.
Good thing you're graduating and hopefully don't have to live with her anymore, because it's going to be awkward.
Top comment, not the asshole. Elena is not your friend. She is treating you poorly. Very straightforward and accurate comment right there.
Yes.
Another comment, not the asshole. She wouldn't even give you the bare minimum and ask one of her family members to take a phone photo. So why would you stick your neck out and ask someone you didn't even hire to take photos of her? She just got the shits because you ended up better than her. Congrats on graduating. That's so great.
Yeah, she thought she was so much better than you because she had her whole family fawning over her on her graduation day and you had no one. And then suddenly you have a professional photographer and you have outshined her. That is unacceptable.
And that last part is good too. Congrats, OP. Good job.
Yeah, good job. Graduating college is a big deal.
OP should have said that the photographer would be too busy concentrating on OP to take any pics of her.
Ooh, I like that. I am always down for a petty comeback.
OP, please reconsider this friendship. This person sounds mean and insufferable and not even a friend. Oh, somebody did ask, and it does confirm what we honestly made as an assumption.
Uh-huh.
Info. So Elena is not a citizen of the country from which you and this consulate representative originate, correct? OP replied, Elena is American.
Yep, she does not deserve this consulate photographer's time.
As much as I am reveling in, like, bashing Elena for this audacity, we are going to just get one of those waves in our comments of people being like, I'm too European for this. I see you. I see you typing it right now.
Too late, they've already typed it by now.
And Reddit is very firmly on OP's side here. They're all saying, Elena is not a friend. Congrats on graduating. And they're all very happy that it turns out karma is real.
It is always nice when karma rears its head.
All right, that's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.